This woman is giving birth. She was in pain to death and came back to life to give birth to a baby. But just seeing the baby, she suddenly shivered. Kill her to end it all. She slowly raised the scissors. But in the end, she was still not ruthless. She knew she would pay the price if she let the child live. Because this child is the daughter of the devil. That girl was Carrie, a demon. The mother kept keeping her at home. It wasn't until high school that she sent Carrie to school. That day Carrie was showering at school. Suddenly she saw that she was bleeding. Mother never taught her before. This is the physiology that every girl must have. Carrie thought she was going to die. She was afraid to ask for help. But they just laughed at her. After that, all the female students gathered. They laughed at Carrie even in her physiological state and didn't know what it was. At this time, a schoolgirl named Hargensen took out a tampon, then threw it at Carrie. She incited others to act like her. Carrie screamed and cried desperately. But those female students were getting more and more overreacted. Hargensen even took out her phone and filmed this scene. Carrie desperately, hugging a towel and crying on the ground. Fortunately, the teacher could come in time. The teacher hugged Carrie and comforted her, "It's okay." But right now, there was only hatred in Carrie. Her magic power also began to awaken. Mother picked Carrie home. Carrie was in deep thought. Suddenly, a child came running and cursed her for being crazy. Carrie was very angry. Carrie was surprised. She suddenly realized. Everything that happened today is not normal. Carrie began to realize vaguely. She seemed to have something different. The next day Carrie went to school again. She noticed everyone laughing at her back. Carrie didn't know that. The evening, Hargensen posted the video on social networks. Now Carrie was the laughingstock for the whole school. Someone even painted text on her locker. Carrie White. Cats. Weak Carrie did not dare to protest. She bowed to the toilet. Anger stares into the mirror. She did not understand why she was being treated like that. Suddenly the mirror cracked. Carrie was startled with fear, but very quickly she noticed. She concentrated her thoughts and looked at the broken mirror. The mirror suddenly moved. Carrie laughed, now she noticed. Finally, she had the power to appeal. Carrie raised her hand, all the objects in the room flew up. Carrie is very happy. Her magic power has awakened. And she was no longer the weak Carrie. Fortunately, there are still good people beside her right now. The day Carrie was laughed at in the toilet by everyone. There was a girl who was not indifferent to Carrie's help. That girl feels very sorry. So she told her boyfriend. Hopefully he can invite Carrie over to the school ball. That kind boy agreed. He went to invite Carrie. She was very pleased. This is the first time she's been treated well by others. The next day, Carrie told this story to her mother. Carrie's mother disagrees. He will harm you. The mother's overprotection began to recur again. She thought that boy just wanted to abuse Carrie. She started to go mad and forced Carrie to decline the invitation. Carrie started to panic. Carrie's magic power began to awaken again. The frightened mother began to pray. Carrie knew that her mother had always considered her a devil. She started to get angry. The mother moaned. She started cursing Carrie. She says, "You are a witch, you are a devil." Carrie couldn't understand. Why was this small wish of hers not being fulfilled either? She put the mother down. This time she must go. Carrie began making her own clothes, waiting for the day of the prom to arrive, but Carrie didn't know that. Hargensen, for spreading her video, was fined by the school. Should have lost their status to participate in the ball. Now there was only hatred in Hargensen's heart. In order to take revenge on Carrie, she began planning a terrifying revenge plan. Finally, the day to join the prom has arrived. Carrie wears a prom dress she made herself. She was delighted to accompany Tommy to the ball. They slowly began to dance together. It was the first time in her life that Carrie had danced. She had never been this happy before. The dark past seems to be dispelled. A smile reappeared on her face. Finally the music ends. Time to vote for the best dancer tonight. Carrie felt very strange now. Because of her name and Tommy reappears in the voting list. A person is hated by the whole school like her, how could he be chosen? Tommy advised her not to think too much, but then the host announced the results of the vote. Carrie was amazed. She and Tommy were voted the most. The two of them walked up to the stage together. This moment everyone applauded for them. This was the best moment in Carrie's life. Because she was so excited that Carrie didn't see it. Hargensen was playing a game right above her head. In the stands, a bucket of pig blood fell over Carrie. The screen also suddenly replayed the video that day. All of this is Hargensen's plan. She secretly changed the vote. To make Carrie the queen of the prom. She wanted Carrie to feel pain. When we have to fall from heaven to hell. Hargensen has achieved that goal. The entire hall started to laugh at Carrie. Everyone saw Carrie as a joke. Suddenly, the buckets of pigs fell and hit Tommy's head. Now the only person who treated Carrie well was dead. Carrie was completely hopeless. Carrie, furious, started burning everything. This fire will burn everyone who laughs at her and bullies her. Carrie's magic power has completely awakened. People were afraid to run away. But Carrie used magic power to close all the doors. They become birds in cages waiting to be slaughtered. Carrie began to deal with every single person who had bullied her. 1 person, 2 people, 3 people. Eventually the entire hall was engulfed by Carrie in flames. Except for a teacher who used to take care of Carrie. Then no one left alive. Now Hargensen and her boyfriend are about to drive away. Carrie used magic power to make the ground crack in half, forcing Hargensen and her boyfriend to get back to Carrie. Hargensen told her boyfriend to speed up the car, crashed Carrie. So he pressed on the gas to increase his full speed. Carrie stood still, extended her hand, and used magic power. Hargensen's boyfriend died on the spot. Now only the wicked Hargensen. Watching Carrie slowly walk over, she was scared. But she never ran away. Have done it to the end. She decided to press the gas, intending to stab Carrie to death. But for Carrie, killing Hargensen was a very simple thing. Carrie swung her hand to throw Hargensen at the gas station. In the end, Carrie had a successful revenge. Everything is over. Carrie ran home like a crying child. She wanted to run to her mother's side to be comforted. Carrie was washing off the blood stains on her body when her mother appeared. Carrie cried, ran to hug her mother. Carrie's mother hugged her and muttered. Turns out the reason she always called Carrie the daughter of the devil. Not because of her magic power, but because Carrie was born later because her mother was raped. The mother said, "I should have killed you when you were born. But because I love you so much." Carrie's mother embraced Carrie. Suddenly she picked up the knife and stabbed Carrie in the back. Suddenly Carrie's magic power exploded. She pushed the mother away. As for herself, she fell down the stairs. Carrie never expected. The mother she loved most wanted to kill her. Carrie's mother is insane. She blamed all of her guilt on Carrie. No matter what Carrie begged, she didn't soften her heart. She raised her knife and stabbed Carrie. Every blow was dangerous. Carrie said desperately, "I'm sorry, Mom." Then Carrie protested. Finally the mother died. Carrie hugged her mother's body in her arms. She is extremely miserable. She personally killed her mother. At this moment, the girl who had always quietly cared about Carrie appeared. "Let me help you," she said. But Carrie no longer trusted anyone. "I have suffered so many trauma in my life." Carrie did not want to live anymore. She used all her magic power to collapse the house. The kind girl wanted to pull Carrie out. Only now did Carrie realize that the girl really wanted to help her. Carrie found out that the girl was pregnant. "So I used the last bit of magic power to push that girl out before the house collapsed." And Carrie hugged her mother waiting for death. Now she has no reason to live anymore. At the end of the movie, the kind girl brings flowers to Carrie's grave. The tombstone is written in red letters, "Carrie White, burn in hell." Carrie has always been so pitiful before. Even when she died, she was cursed by others. She has truly turned into a devil, but the cause was burning up that devil's fire. Again stems from the malice of everyone around.